Good afternoon, it's Michael here from Michael's Card Art. And I was going to say something else then. I thought I was writing a reference for somebody. Yes, so Michael here from Michael's Card Art. Now, 2 weeks ago, I think it was, I made this card. Now, I've got plenty of card stamps and dies, but I've not come across a tree as large as this in terms of a die. And there's a couple of parts to this tree. There's what you see here, the trunk and the foliage, and you've got this additional add-on piece that you can shape up, and it looks like for all the tea and china, it looks like it's a collection of foliage on the tree, as you can see there. Now, with all of the work that I do tend to give it a three-dimensional look. That's what I prefer anyway, and this really fits the bill. A couple of things that we're going to focus on today is colouring. Well, one is colouring and the other one is shaping. And what I want to do is go through that, because I got a lot of comments about the colouring on this tree, and I'm going to show you what I did to get that really quite natural, I'm going to call it a winter look on the tree. So it's in winter and it's coming out of winter into a spring or an autumn. And this here is what generated a lot of the interest here. So I'm going to show you how I did that, if that's something that you'd be interested in. And we'll pull together a card of sorts. I was going to finish it at just doing the tree, but I like this piece so much I'm going to make another one. So this could be the second one that I'm making. But anyway, here we are. This is the lesson for this week. And I'll put that aside. And the first thing we're going to do is colour this up. Now, I've been playing with it already, you can tell. So what I'm going to use is probably a mossy green, a mossy meadow, which is a dark green. And and also maybe a soft suckling and an evening evergreen is what I want there. Okay, so they're all greens. And for the browns, I'm going to go with a soft suede and a early espresso. So we've got these two here. Now, let's do the colouring of the trunk first. The trunk and these boughs. Now, I always start with the darker colour first, and then come in with the lighter colour. The reason for that is, I think it's a leave-over from when I use alcohol markers. So with alcohol markers, I always like to do the dark colour first, and then I bring the light colour in to blend. If I was doing shading where the ink is dry, well then I'd probably do either dark or light first. There's no real issue for me there. However, if I'm going to shade then blend, I will do the dark first and then finish with the light. Okay, now so we're going to go with the dark first, and I'm just going to use the dauber. Now, something else that I also use in this space are these things off the internet, but they're great for doing, and I'll start off with that now if you like. They're great for doing this, where you can just get down and you can touch some of these hard to get spaces more easily with a brush like this, as opposed to using a dauber, and certainly much easier than using a blending brush. Okay, so all I'm doing here is just giving it a bit of a touch up, and once again in here as well. Now, depends on how dark you wish to make this, of course. But here's what we've got here at the moment, and as I'm working through this, I'm starting to realize I probably want a bit more of a reddish color in there, or a color with a bit more yellow in it. So, and that's what I'm going to do with the pecan pie. And let's bring that into play, and you will start to see that just coming alive a bit more. There. Now, I'm not too precious in terms of where the brush lands. You can see I'm capturing on some of the foliage as well in that area, but that's quite okay. I'm just doing that. Okay, and we've got let's get some pecan pie down in here as well, where we've got woodwork happening. Let's get our light colours in first. There we go. Now, even though we put the early espresso down, which is a dark colour here, the pecan pie is really what we needed there. As you can see there, there's a little bit of timber up there. Now, let's bring down the early espresso, and let's get some of that into play. And you can see there, I'm going to use the dauber actually. You can see there, there we go. Now, I don't want to take it into all the same areas as where the pecan pie is. I do want some contrast. As you can see there. Okay. All right. Now, so we can see that I've got some dark in here in these spots coming down on that side, and then there's some light touches there as well. Okay, so we want to create that sort of look. Okay, now, just while you're finishing off there, what I might do here is just put some of this away now. I may need some more of that, but let's see how we progress. Now, bringing in our greens, I'm going to use the soft succulent first, and just lay some green colour down onto our tree, just covering up those white spots that we've got there. That's the way, just like this. Now, people will have their own way of doing this. I'm just going to use this dauber. It was the one with some brown in it. It doesn't matter, it can still have, there we go. All right, and it's coming along just the way we want it. I'm now going to put in some mossy meadow. This will be our main colour. And I usually start in the centre. Now, the thing I like about the mossy meadow is it's got a nice bit of gravelly brown green in it. Gravelly brown. It's got some. It's a deep, rich, dirty green, and it goes so well, I think, with most of the foliage projects that I do. I've always got mossy green or mossy meadow as my first colour of choice when it comes to greens. There we go. Now look at that. It's really coming along nicely. You've got some, it looks like you've got autumnal colours in there, so that's looking very, very good. And you can see I've been pretty rough with it. Now, might just bring across our a third of our colours, which was the evening evergreen. Now, let's just grab a... And as you can see, just lifting that up a bit for you, I mean, I could use that just like that on a card, and I think it would be very well received. Now, all I'm doing now is just adding another green, and what we're doing here is getting some shadow in under the colours that we've already done. And to do that, I'm not going over all of those greens, I'm sort of like going under them. So here's where, and that there gives me an opportunity to create some shadow without upsetting or colouring over all the other greens that I've done. Now, I like that light there, so I'm just going to put a little bit of green. And I'm using just the corner of the dauber when I'm applying this colour. Okay, there we go. And I don't want to fill up too much of these light spaces because I think they're very nice the way they are. And look at that. It's good, isn't it? Okay, now, because this card, what's the name of the stamp set? Oh, I've really not done my preparation properly for you, have I? Let me just grab it. Autumn Trees, this is from. from the autumn trees, Stamp It Up, and this is the tree here. It's a really, really large stamp, and this is only 80% to its scale. So it's very, very good. Now, I want to just play with one other colour in here and bring in some granny apple green. Let me just bring that down there. I'm going to use this brush for it, to apply it. And what I want to do now is this. I'm going to put the granny apple green on this part here. Not all over, but just in some spots. And there we go. That should be sufficient. All right. Now, if I was to place that on there, you'd think, oh, that's not going to go at all. But let's come back with some of the Mossy Meadow and Mossy Meadow. Where is this one? And a little bit of the Evening Evergreen. So I'm just getting the Mossy Meadow now, using a similar brush, and I'm just putting contrasts of light and dark. Now, just putting that on there. There we go. And I'm really just tapping it down, as opposed to brushing it on. There we go. And now I'm just going to start brushing down, because some of these spots that are a little bit dark, a little bit dark here, I just want to soften those out a little bit, some of these darker green areas. There we go. And okay, that's working better now. Okay, there we go. Oops, we've lost a little bit of foliage, but that's okay. We'll be able to glue that on there. It is a piece that you do need to treat a little more carefully than what I am, actually. That's the first time it has broken, though. Right, let's just see what that looks like on there. And can you see now that is starting to look like a tree with texture? And see how we've got, there we go, that's how it will sit. So there we go. And this here, I believe comes from here. But what we might do is bring it up over there in some way, shape or form. We'll bring it there so we can get maximum, yeah, I think that's it. Perfect. Okay. And there, I'll just grab some of this ink out of the way, clear the decks for you. Oh, and something else I wanted to share with you as well. Okay, how's that look? And you'll see quite a remarkable change as well once I give you the final part of the puzzle in the colouring of it. Just hold fire. That's what I wanted to quickly tell you too, as part of the intro. Remember these cases, Stampin' Up cases? Yeah, so all the stamps come in these, especially the red rubber stamps, and the dies would come in a separate packet. Well, now that we're phasing, Stampin' Up is phasing these ones out, or the red rubber stamps out, that's these ones here. And that's due to the fact that some of the ingredients are getting harder and harder to obtain. So those stamps will no longer exist. Instead, we'll use the polyurethane. Polyurethane. Let me just show you, which ones are they? It's the clear ones, and I think it's these ones here, yes. So, I don't know what I can't remember what these are called, polypropylene. Anyway, these ones are going to be the stamp of choice now for Stampin' Up. And so therefore we don't need such large cases for them. We're going to go and have those delivered in these little wallets. That means I've got something like 400 of these available. And what am I going to do with them? Well, let me show you. I make three-dimensional cards. It's hard enough finding storage space once I've made them. I'm putting them into a filing cadenza at the moment to protect the integrity of the 3D. Here is the case for my 3Ds. Until I sell them or until I give them away, they're now protected in a very rigorous little box. And I'm even thinking of having these sent out so I can mail them out to clients with this, and I'll cover them in decorative paper. Anyway, there's a little idea for you if you were wondering what to do with your 3D crafting projects. Now, let me just show you. So the next thing I'm going to do is shape the card. And to that end, I will use a stylus, like so. And all I'm going to do in round circles, start to shape off my tree. Now I'll go with the, in this sort of a configuration, so I'm starting at the top and then working my way down. And as you turn and create a circular motion, you will find that the die will wish to turn. Now I don't mind that. I don't need to hold it stable. And by allowing it to turn as well, it just helps find its own place. Okay, so I've got some even, here if I show you this on the side, you'll sort of start to see more of it. See how it has that. Okay, so now I'm going to bring my focus down here. And here we've got the tree trunk here, like so. Okay. I'll just take that out. I'm not sure what that is. Now, I do like the colouring there on that. It's very nice. Okay, now turning that over. A little bit of self-praise, Michael, doesn't hurt, so long as it doesn't become vexatious. Okay, there we go. I'm just turning that over, and there. Right. Now let's bring that over here, and I think we've got the colouring just perfect. This goes in here. And like so, goes there. Now, our piece that we've got, there we go, and there. Now this piece here, I said it was going to go up there, and I don't think it has to. I think I'm going to put it down here. There. So it's there, like so. How does that look? Fantastic. Watch this space. Now, what I'm going to suggest that you do is remove the top foliage, and you need a spritzer. Now, this is a Stampin' Up! Spritzer. It's just, and all I've done is I've added just the smallest amount of water into the base of the tube. Okay, and that will then spray out. Now what I'm going to be doing is a spray onto the tree trunk. That's what I did to create that technique. So I'm trying to, I'm going to aim low. Let's just see what I can do here. I really just want that part of the tree to be covered in a fine mist spray. So let me just grab a piece of paper that I can use. There we go. And we'll just cover this in fine mist spray, but I do request, or do suggest, not request, do request, suggest that you let it drain off. So hold it in your hand, and we're just going to give it a couple of squirts. There we go. And just watch what's happening down here. You can see straight away the colour is starting to change quite dramatically. And you're starting to see these now ripples of a colour coming away from that there. I'm just going to give it a couple more squirts. There we go. Okay, so this is the next day, by the way. I had to quickly spritz the tree, and I was just putting it into an upright position to drain off, as I suggested, and I had to duck out the door and help someone with a little task, which turned out to be a big task. Anyway, here is the dried product, some 12 hours later, or 24 hours later, I should say, and you can see with the spritzing, it's got a really nice bit of grain to it. It does show up some of the watermarks, but I think the effect and the texture you get here is very, very nice. And here is our top foliage, which is now coming apart in a couple of places, but that doesn't matter because it will go very nicely on the thing. Now, if we go back to our original reference piece, we can see that I've got some foliage in here. Now, they're very simple little blooms, probably in contrast the wrong size for that tree. However, I found some smaller ones that I'd like to use and colour up. So here they are here, and I think we'll still go with the red or the the crimson of sorts. And I'm just wondering, jacaranda trees. We might put these in as a purple. So jacaranda trees are quite prolific here in Australia, and they have this gorgeous purple bloom. So let's see what that looks like. I think just need a little. What am I looking for? Here it is. Just a little brush, and we're going to colour those up with, here it is, just with a touch-up of colour, courtesy of our brushes. Now I'm just going to put, I just want to, well, isn't that interesting? Okay, maybe purple and white. I can do that. White being the centre of the little blossom. I'm just seeing if I'd like this purple enough to persevere. Well, the putty has run out on my quick pick. Now, what does that look like? Okay, I think we can go with that. All right, so I'm just colouring up these flowers in a very random sort of manner, like so, just to start to see what they're going to look like on the actual tree. I think the purple will be good. We might even do a couple of darker ones, and that would be Gorgeous Grape and Highland Heather we've got now. Just do a couple more in the Highland Heather, and then we'll switch over to the slightly darker Gorgeous Grape. And the reason, oops, I don't want to have to go and dirty another brush. Just one more. There we go. And you can see there's the Highland Heather. It's a little bit stronger. And a couple more. There we go. Okay. All right. Okay. So I've only got a couple more weeks. I fly out to the UK on the 1st of October, leaving Melbourne, and coming back on the 14th of October. It's a very short trip. I'm kind of looking forward to it. It's just that when I get there, it won't be the happiest of occasions, simply because I've got friends who are not very well, and they're very dear friends, and well, anyway, we all know what the outcome will be. And here's our last one here. Okay, all right. So I had a look at it the other day. It's 9 years since I was in a plane. Gosh, 9 years. And I used to live in a plane for my job. Anyway. Right, now just clear that away. And what I'm going to do is, with our flowers, I'm going to give them a white centre. Just quickly put this away. There we go. Right, that one and this one. All right, so now with our white centres, I'm just going to use an ink pen for that. Now, the secret here to getting these centres right is keeping that little insert there in the middle. Okay, so that's all I'm doing. I'm just giving it some highlight in the centre, like so. There we go. And I think, just looking at that, there's another one there, yes. All right. Okay. And small fiddly work. Let me just see what they look like if we put those now onto the tree. And these are all the light ones, I think. What I am going to do is I'll use my piercing mat as well, and I'll shape those blossoms up. But I think that's, yeah, that's a nice colour. All right, so what I'll do is I'll finish these off, and I'll come back to you when that's all done, and I'll start to shape them for you. Okay, now they're all coloured, and we'll now shape those up using the piercing mat and one of the smaller stylus that we can get. Okay, and it's really just a matter of I put the flower petal side up and just give it a good push, and there you go. And there you've got the tree sitting nicely, the petal sitting nicely on the tree with some upturned petals. So let's just do that on all of these. There we go. How do I get it out of the mat? Yes. Okay. Oops. And that's as difficult as it needs to be. Just got a couple more here. Now, something else that's happening. I've got an expo happening in Gippsland at Locksport in Victoria, and that's happening on the long weekend in Melbourne on the 3rd and the 4th of November. Now, if you happen to be in Locksport or in that Gippsland area, please drop in. We've got a beginner's class happening on the 3rd, which is the Monday, and I've got an intermediate and advanced class happening on the Tuesday. And I will be putting up on my website more details about each one, and I'll also put in there for you the details of the cards that we will be making at the Loxford Expo. So if you feel like coming along to a card class, please do so. There will be some details on my website and that for who to contact, and you can make a booking on my website directly. I'm just finishing off that page so that those bookings can be made. And if you do have any problems making the booking, let me know, because you can just drop me an email or a message via the website, and that will trigger an alert so that I can just come back to you with details as you need them. So that's Monday, Tuesday, the 3rd and the 4th of November at the Loxford Community Hall over in Gippsland. And so I'm looking forward to that immensely. There's will be about 60 pieces on display. Most of them will be framed, but there'll also be gift sets and various other things if you wanted to just drop in and pick up a small gift for those events that are coming up towards the Christmas period. Okay, I think that's good. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to position this, the extra foliage, and look, it's a really nice stamp and die set. It really is. So let's put some glue to the onto the case. Now, don't need that mat. I will grab a silicone mat. There we go, just for gluing purposes, so that I don't get glue everywhere. Now I'm just going to glue these pieces down. And why is that not coming out? There we go. A little. I need a pin. There. Sorry for that reach over there. Okay, let's see how we go with that. So just smallest amount of glue, so it's not oozing everywhere. And there, it's probably a little bit too much, I think, looking at that. Right, now here we go. That's the long pieces go down there. Right, let's lock those into position. Yeah, that one goes up in there. And you have to be careful with this that you don't do what I'm doing, and that's get glue everywhere. Michael, you've really made a bit of a shabby bit of work on that. Let's get a Q-tip so that I can take off some of that extra glue that's pooling there. And just gently give it a wipe. There we go. And a bit off there and there. No, that doesn't seem to be in the right position there. It'll stay there. I'll have to get rid of that one though. Alright. Now, let's just put that around here. There. Alright, and the extra piece of... Oh, what have I done with that? Oh, I thought there was... Oh dear, it's all coming down. Sorry about that. I thought I had some extra foliage. Oh, here it is, over here. Alright, let's get some glue onto that. Just do it like this. Just the smallest amount. And that will go in there, I think, like so. There we go. And the last little bit up here. And I suppose you could easily, if you wanted to, cut out a double amount of this stuff and place that and give yourself a bit more foliage to cover the tree with. We're not going to do that, I don't think, for this particular card, but you could certainly do that. All right. And there is the tree with its foliage. All right. Now, the last part of that, I do need to come back and re-glue this piece because I don't think that's holding at all. Oh, maybe it is. Oh, yep, it's it. All right, I'll get that glue off there. All right. So there's our tree. Now let's put on. Now I'm going to pull some glue here, just on my glass mat, and then I'm going to very gently pick these up and apply some glue to the underside, and then just place them like so. Okay. A little bit of glue, just a little bit, and there we go there. So we've got the light and the dark purple. Okay. And that just makes a nice change from the red, I think, that I've used quite a bit for tree florals lately. There we go. And so all I'm looking for are just some gaps that I can put some blossoms. Oh. Okay. All right. I'll finish this off and then I'll come back to you so you don't have to sit there and watch me do this painstakingly. Intriguing piece of work. All right. So I won't be a sec. Okay. So this is the next morning, unfortunately. I was so tired last night, and I was looking at the video that I was finishing off for this, and I think I started to fall asleep. So, okay, so let's just do a recap where we are. So I've shown you just basically cutting out of the flowers, and I've got two types of flower here, hence the dark and the light mauve or purple. And what I did, I cut out those fabulous little deer from the stamp set, and I've placed them in here. I've coloured those ones purple, or a blackberry bliss actually. And so we've got the yellow here. We've got the two deer. Now what I did do with this deer, I chopped her legs off from the base of the card here, because I was going to put this onto an elevated platform. And I'll just show you how that works, but I'm not going to do it today. I've created these two little springs, if you like, and what I did with this one, I put the springs under, and you can see it there. There's a spring there, and there's also one there. Can you see that? Now, I've put those springs there because I wanted to lift the tree off the base of the card and give it some height. And you might see that height just there. So there's 3 springs in this one. But I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to keep it pretty close to the card base itself. But this in itself makes for a nice little card anyway. It's gorgeous paper, the deer, some little flowers. So there's lots of opportunity for, well, there's lots of inspiration there for if you wanted to use just the paper without the tree. You've got these little deer here. And so what we're going to do is I'm just going to put dimensionals around this and get that into place. But I do want the mother deer, just in about that position, and I'll lift her head out from the trees so that she can see what's going on, much like I did with that one, but just in a slightly different position. I've coloured up the rock. We've got some grass here, so some dimensionals. There's some here. So let's just put that into play. And there we go. I'm going off to a very dear friend's place today for lunch. And I said I'd make dessert. Now, these dear friends, they're Greek. And their daughter said, "Oh, why don't you make loukoumades?" I think that's how you say it. Loukoumades. They're basically a yeast donut. Small yeast donut. And you coat them when they've come out of the cooking medium, the fryer. You coat them in warm honey and cinnamon. And I have to say, delicious. But I've never made them before, so I was up early this morning with the yeast, proving it. Okay, now this is sitting in here. It sits in front, and I've got to just get the deer's head under that tree, so it's more or less centered. There we go. Yeah. Let me just have a look at this. Okay, I'm trying to pull one way and it's going the other way. My little flowers come off. Put that back there. Okay. Let's... maybe I take this off altogether. There we go. Put the tree down. Yes. Oh, look, he's such a cute little thing. The deer. There we go. Okay, find its adhesive spots. Get that in place. And then, with Mama Deer, maybe we can put her over on this side. Yes, look at that. Okay, she's found her spot. And there's the mother deer. And so by cutting her off at the, just by removing her feet from the base here and moving it over, we've now got her in a more visual position with the tree. I'll just get rid of that dimensional there at the background. There we go. Okay, that's done. All right. And the final touch is a sentiment. And we might put that up in the tree. It wasn't where I intended, but no, why not here? What is wrong with that? Yes, I think that's nice. So up there, we'll put that on some dimensionals. There we go. And the last one, just taking off this adhesive. Oh, there we go. Okay. Voila. Now, I won't go into the detail of putting it onto a base card, but it'll basically be the same as this. And I think that's a very nice card. A very nice card. So there you go. And you could do a whole series of these. It's not a difficult card to create. A couple of techniques there. We've got our shading of various different greens throughout our tree. So you've got exposed branches, and we're colouring those up in browns to show that there is bits of texture and various elements within the tree. You've got the tree trunk being spritzed to give you that really nice natural timber look, if you like. And we've used a purple here for our flowers. You could mix that colour up with yellows on another tree. So a whole series of these could be made just with doing different florals and changing the background around a little bit. But that designer series paper with this product is really, really nice. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you've learned something. And I hope to see you next time on Michael's Card Art. Do take care. Bye for now.